Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So the last class we have discussed about the elasticity of demand. We have discussed what is price elasticity of demand, what is the meaning of elasticity of demand, different types of elasticity of demand. Then we have showed the different degrees of elasticity of the demand we have showed. And the elasticity, this degree of elasticity of the demand is classified into 5 categories, and we have discussed each of them along with the diagram. Those who haven't seen that video, please go through that video. It is given on the heading elasticity of demand. Now today's topic which we are going to discuss is the methods of measuring elasticity of the demand. There are various methods of measuring this elasticity of the demand. Last class only I have told you that elasticity of the demand is that elasticity of the demand means what? We can get the exact value from it. That is the elasticity of the demand. But in the case of measuring the law of demand, we can measure only the direction of it, but not the magnitude. But in the case of elasticity of the demand, we can measure the exact value of it. So the first today we are going to discuss in this topic geometrical method of measuring the elasticity of the demand. That means, okay, so this is what we can see, that this is a geometrical method of measuring the price elasticity of the demand. That means what? Elasticity of the demand can also be measured at a given point on the demand curve. This is the demand curve. At this various point we can measure the elasticity of the demand. At this given point we can measure the elasticity of the demand. This is the demand curve. We are measuring price on the y-axis and quantity demanded on the x-axis, and we all know that the demand curve is negatively sloped. Okay, so point D, point A, point B, point C, point D, these are the different points on the demand curve, and each point is having a different elasticity. So we are going to measure it. First, let us know what the formula we are going to use. Okay, see what formula we are going to use here. ED will be equal to, that is elasticity of the demand will be equal to lower segment on the demand curve by the upper segment on the demand curve. This is the midpoint here. This B is considered as a midpoint. So lower segment means this is the lower segment and this part is the upper segment. Okay, so first we will measure the elasticity of the demand at point E. First we are going to measure this elasticity of the demand at point E. How you are going to measure it? Lower segment by upper segment. Formula here, elasticity of the demand at point E. What is the formula over here? Lower segment by upper segment. Okay, what is the lower segment here? ED. ED is the lower segment. What is the upper segment here? 0. That means anything divided by 0 will be equal to infinite. So what will be the elasticity of the demand at point D? Here EP will be equal to infinite. Okay. Now let us measure elasticity of the demand at point A, at this point. Okay, so here lower segment. What is the lower segment here? AD. What is the upper segment here? EA. We can say that AD is greater than EA. AD here at point A, ED will be greater than 1. So at point A, ED will be greater than 1, because see here AD will be, here AD is greater than EA, therefore what we can tell, AD by EA, this could be greater than 1, therefore what we can say, here ED will be greater than 1, this one will also be ED, not EP. Okay, next one, we are going to measure the elasticity of the demand. That means what, AD is greater than AE, that means AD by EA will be greater than 1, therefore ED will be greater than 1. That means at point A, ED will be greater than 1. Next, okay, next you can see that at point B, lower segment will be what, BD, upper segment will be what, EB. That means here what we can see, BD is equal to EB, or what we can say, this is equal to 1. So at this point ED will be equal to 1. Again, elasticity of the demand at point C. At point C, how can we measure? CD, lower segment by upper segment is EC. That means here EC means CD is less than EC. That means CD by EC will be less than 1. That means at this point ED will be less than 1. Okay. Again, at point D, what we can see, that lower segment is what we do, this 0 here, and upper segment ED, that means what we can say, this is which is equal to 0. That means at this point ED will be equal to 0. So these are the different points where we can calculate the elasticity of the demand. The elasticity of the demand curve, we can get different elasticity of the demand at different points. So this is also called point elasticity. So if the question come, what are the different elasticity of the demand on a linear demand curve, then you have to draw this and you have to write in the same way as I have showed you. If the question come, explain the various degree of price elasticity of the demand at different points on a straight line demand curve or on a linear demand curve. This question has come in the year 2019 ISC. So you have to write in the exact way as I have showed you in this video. So those who haven't subscribed the channel, please subscribe it so that you won't miss up any video. Thanks for watching.